Hi, I'm Sean Coughlin, founder of Image Protection Services, the sequel to Cinetech Film Laboratories, which I founded and we ran for 25 years. Cinetech and Image Protection Services are dedicated to film preservation and restoration, whether it was in an analog photochemical world or in today's digital world of 4K and 2K, 16 millimeter, 35 millimeter. We're striving to be one of the world leaders in doing the work that is needed, and we've been doing that here in Hollywood for years. What we're trying to do now, and we have been in the past, is to move more into also the adjacent markets. We have a fabulous team, just a great group of people, really talented, and I think we have a great line of operating procedures and techniques that are proven that are landing fabulous results on the screen, and that gets me out of bed every day. That gets me here. Well, the first thing that happens is, like with any restoration, we bring in the film assets into the studio. We lay them all out, and then we actually do a physical inspection. We check for dimensional characteristics on the film, which is shrinkage. We look for any defects and artifacts that are sitting on there, any mold. Then we decide, once we have it all laid out and prepared, then we figure out how to clean it. But once we have the surface, both surfaces cleaned, then we go in to scan it. And scanning is a process for us where we actually go in and we register each frame again and take a photograph of each frame. And once we're done with the scanning portion of it, that data is then QC'd. And then once that data is QC'd, it goes into what's called DRS, where the digital restoration actually takes place. You know, a lot of people can go out and grab money and buy a scanner. That can happen. I would say that based on what you're looking for is to make sure that the people that are actually physically touching your film are qualified to execute the scan and the actual hands-on handling of your asset. I think that's most important. Once you have that, what level are you scanning at? What level are you capturing that image? You know, based on where you're going to go with that image, you can get away with a lower resolution. We try to tell our clients we should always scan at the highest possible resolution, based on what the science that we know, whether it's 2K or 4K. I remember starting out, one of the first films that we worked on was working with a gentleman by the name of Bob Gitt. And Bob Gitt was a major guy. He was the top restoration artist for UCLA, and we had worked on a film called Death Takes a Holiday, and we did some other smaller type things. And then I met a gentleman through an introduction through Museum of Modern Art, and I went in to meet him, and at the time it was really an incredible time, because Turner had brought all this stuff. The studios realized they had all these assets on their shelves, and there was a collective pool of people that really realized that the whole town had to come together. We had to develop standards and a way to get all this stuff preserved for audiences and to make money. I mean, let's face it, this thing really at the end of the day was, VHS was alive. Nobody even knew about streaming. We didn't even think in those terms, but we knew that these films were there. We knew they were rotting. We knew they had to be taken from a nitrate base or from Eastman color fading. We knew we had to preserve them and restore them. But then the day hit. I remember getting a phone call in Riverside from Dick May, and he said, "Hey, listen, we'd like you to run a test on The Wizard of Oz." And it was emotional. Well, I remember when the call came in, I was like, well, okay, really, yeah, we're going to send you the camera original from The Wizard of Oz. I'm like, okay, we'll be right there to pick it up, So, and I remember bringing it into the room. We were 4 or 5 people there working, and we took the film out of the cans, and we actually put it up on a rewind, and then it really struck you. My God. There's the original negative on The Wizard of Oz, and you're running it, and it's like you could hear it running through the synchronizer, and it was silent in the room. The only thing you could hear was people breathing and the film running through that synchronizer, and it was extraordinary. And then once we got done with that, then you clean the film and you start running your initial tests, and that's when I realized what 3-strip Technicolor was, when those first tests started hitting the screen. And there was just something about those black and white negatives and the reproduction of those images onto Eastman color print and direct on the screen. It was an extraordinary experience, and it took multiple times to get the film through and to make it look right. But once it was done, and Dick May called and said it was just absolutely gorgeous, and people were watching it and they thought it was spot on. It was a game changer for us, and it changed my life. The other studios started taking notice, and we were able to get more work. And I I think I woke up 20-something years later, and still working on film, but it just was a period of time. Again, lucky, yes. Timing, important, yes. But the journey of getting there and being where we're at today on the digital front, it's the same experience with these digital tools that we could never dream about doing things that we did in the photo lab then. So everything has been evolving, and I think that's what's important about what we're trying to do now, and what I'm speaking about is that all images are important. We want to bring the Hollywood experience of what we've done in preservation and restoration, both analog and digital, both at Cinetech and at Image Protections, and bring that into the adjacent market. Images are images. If we can learn from them and we can make the world a better place, we can educate the next generations to come and hopefully not make the same mistakes twice. I'm in.